wrong. This is sine to the negative first. Sorry, I got myself confused. Vi sine to the negative first alpha. And then this would be Vi cosine alpha times negative, well, no, sorry, times negative g to the negative second. And then you'd multiply that by Vi cosine alpha, Vi cosine alpha. That is nothing I want to reduce, and I don't think it's anything you guys want to reduce either. Sure, there are plenty of shortcuts for that. Not even sure if I did it quite right. Okay, it's kind of hard to check my answer as well. So I'm going to take this a much easier way, or at least I consider it to be a much easier way. I think I had my computer cook it again. Probably did. Oh well. Just a second. Fixing that. I don't want to reduce that. So what I'm going to do is, remember that whole trig function we had before, an advanced trig function? You'll notice that this is just a series of parabolas. It's one parabola, negative parabola, same parabola. Yeah, that's my x-axis, that's my y-axis. It looks a lot like that. Now, as I explained before, all parabolas are symmetrical, meaning that if we can find the midpoint here, we can find the endpoint there. And inversely, if we can find the endpoint here, we can find the midpoint here. So let's forget about all this point here for right now. And ask ourselves, at what point does this function equal 0? Now, I showed you graphically, but I want to figure this out mathematically. So at what point does this function equal 0? So I'm going to get my calculator out. And I already know this, that cosine 90 equals 0, and then sine of 90 should equal 1. So at 90 degrees, what we're doing is we're taking cosine 90, that's 0, multiplying that by Vi. That still gives us a value of 0. And then whatever this turns out to be, multiply that by 0, it still equals 0. So cosine 90, or I mean at 90, or x equals 90, that should equal 0. And then sine of 0 equals 0 as well. Multiply 0 by Vi, say multiply 0 by 100, and then divide it by 9.8, still equals 0. Multiply anything by 0, whatever this happens to be, and you still get 0. So at 0 degrees it equals 0, at 90 degrees it equals 0. And we predicted that before, because at 0, remember this is the length of, this is the distance along the x-axis. At 90 degrees, you go straight up, fall straight down, no distance along the x-axis, so 0 distance. At 90 degrees, once again, 0 distance, because you just fall straight down. And you never actually intersect the x-axis again. You intersect it at the very point that you throw it at, so. At 90 it's 0, 0 at 0. Now, all we have to do to find the point of this is, like I said, if the apex, or say, if the distance equals 2 times the apex, which I showed before, all we have to do is find the distance and divide it by 2. Divide both of these sides by 2. Or in this case, no, I'm not gonna say x. If the x-intercept, let's go intercept of x equals the apex equals 2 times the apex. Then what we do is we divide both sides by 2. And the intercept, sorry, that's an I, not a 1. That's an I, not a 1. So where it intersects the apex here, all we have to do is divide that by 2. And we get the apex. I mean, if it intersects the x-axis, sorry, here, then we divide that answer by 2 and we get the apex, which would be the greatest possible distance here, because this y value stands for the distance along the x-axis in this graph here. Once again, drop my calculator. Now, I hope you guys can do this on your own, but 90 divided by 2 equals 45 degrees, which gives us the absolute optimum. Now, that, I think, is a lot easier than going through taking the derivative of this advanced trig function and finding the point at which that derivative equals 0. Because for one, there'd be an infinite number of those things, and two, it just takes so long. Once again, all I need to do is analyze the parabola, and we get this answer here, a nice clean 45 degrees, which means that if we go back here, we should come out to, I mean, I could run this through an equation solver if you want me to, but you can do that on your own, I'm sure. F prime of what equals 0? Well, f of 45 equals 0. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to factor 45 into this equation and see if it equals 0. I mean, to the derivative equation we had before. Sorry, this may take a little bit, but I already showed it in the graphing calculator because that's all it does. It takes the derivative, and when it equals 0, puts a line there. Just a moment. Okay, yep, that should do it. It is 45 degrees. So in essence, the optimal... Yay! That is a very clean answer. I am very pleased with that answer. Now, like I said before, that does not include, or that doesn't deal with air drag at all. It doesn't deal with lift at all. It doesn't have to do with anything. It doesn't do. It only accounts for one force. That would be the force of gravity. So if we did this on the moon, it should work out perfectly. But we're not doing this on the moon normally, especially not with our foam rockets. So we actually have some sort of drag and we have some sort of lift acting on them. Um, Now, the reason I think that most of you got an angle of, say, 35 degrees, or fish value, as I would put it, of 35 degrees, is that if you throw it at 45 degrees, it's a linear body. So if you throw it at 45 degrees, what you get is you get the same slope along both the x and y axis as the slope of the object itself. So it's actually at the same angle that you're throwing it at. And it's traveling along the x and y axis at that same speed, so you're not actually getting any lift pushing up until you slow down, or start falling down, actually, once you reach the apex and start falling down. But that's not when you want it. You want it when you're going faster. When you're at 35 degrees, you're actually moving faster along the x-axis. Sorry, that's, you guys cannot see this. Hope you enjoyed the video. I know I had fun. Hope you guys learned something as well. That'd be great. Also, if I did anything wrong, that would be much appreciated. Any comments or questions on the matter, if you didn't quite get something, or if I didn't do a good enough job explaining something, please let me know. Just a word of advice though, Khan Academy is amazing. It's spelled K-A-N, K-H-A-N, Academy. Um, it's this one guy, he's got, I think it's like 30,000 videos right now. Will teach you anything you want to know, anything you could possibly think to know. Everything from like kindergarten to post-grad classes. I mean, I got through like calculus 1 and 2 with it in like 2 weeks, so it's amazing. Because through all the crap you don't need, gives you everything you do need. So if any of you are kind of frustrated and you just want to get to start doing things, that's amazing. Hope to be hearing from you guys soon.